Welcome to the Code of Ethics training for our external partners. This course was specifically designed to review Southern Company's Code of Ethics with our contractors, vendors, lobbyists, and business partners. At Southern Company, we are committed to our values and Code of Ethics. This is the foundation of our success and defines who we are and how we operate as a business. Our Code of Ethics guide our behavior and makes our values come to life. At the end of this training, you will better understand the Code of Ethics and how the code applies to you and to your role with Southern Company Gas. We have a series of what would you do scenarios to help you apply the Code of Ethics. Let's get started. We believe our Code of Ethics guides our employees to interact with our coworkers, customers, and external partners with integrity. They remind us that how we do our job is just as important as what we do. It not only applies to all employees, officers, and board members of Southern Company, its subsidiaries, and affiliates, it also applies to our contractors, vendors, lobbyists, and business partners. Annually, we will require our partners to attest that they have received, read, trained, and will abide by the Code of Ethics. Abiding by the code includes reporting instances of potential code violations or misconduct. At Southern Company Gas, safety is our #1 value. We work safely and we watch out for each other. Our goal is for everyone to go home healthy every day. We do not compromise on safety. We complete required training and we report and correct unsafe situations. What would you do? Mary Jones, a manager at Nicor Gas, hired Mainline Pipeline to help with a pipeline replacement project. This project was going to last for about 5 years, and Mainline Pipeline was one of the best contractors out there. They were 2 years into the project. Recently, there were a lot of reported incidents where Mainline wasn't being as safe as they could be. A report was released from OSHA that around half of all of their sites inspected were out of compliance when it came to use of protected headgear. They recently had an accident where one of their employees was injured as a result of not wearing his hard hat on the Nicor project. Joe Linemaker is the project lead for Mainline. He has a meeting with Mary Jones to give her an update on the project. What should Joe do? A, tell Mary about the recent incident at the site and what the company is doing to mitigate the risks. B, inform Mary that they had some recent safety issues at the company, explain the most recent incident at the Nicor site, and discuss the company's safety strategy going forward to eliminate the risks. C, do nothing. It is an internal issue to Mainline. D, none of the above. B is the best answer. It is important that we are fulfilling our duty to establish and maintain a safe environment by reporting and correcting unsafe conditions. Our Code of Ethics and our values stress that honesty and integrity drive our behaviors. We tell the truth, keep our promises, and deal fairly and ethically with others. Our goal is to establish and maintain relationships built on trust. Since safety is the company's #1 value, it is important for Joe to be transparent with Nicor regarding their safety issues. Unquestionable trust is one of our 4 values at Southern Company Gas. Honesty, respect, fairness, and integrity drive our behavior. By keeping our promises and ensuring ethical behavior is our standard, we build trust with our coworkers, partners, and the community. What would you do? Joe Smith is a lobbyist for ABC firm. The firm's #1 client is Nicor Gas. He's been in his role for a few years now. Joe has faced multiple accusations of inappropriate behavior with women as a lobbyist and in 2 instances has been banned from visiting certain Capitol offices. This was never shared with Nicor Gas. Recently, Joe and 2 legislative staffers, Jane and Maria, went out for drinks one evening. Jane, a legislative staffer, accused Joe of using a date rape drug in her drink that night. She became sick and went to the emergency room where GHB was found in her system. Although Joe wasn't named publicly, word quickly spread that the Nicor lobbyist was a target of the investigation. Several House members declared their offices off limits to Joe and his firm. How should ABC firm handle the situation? A, they should sweep it under the rug because they've known Joe for many years and he would not do anything like that. B, investigate the situation but not mention it to their regulatory contact at Nicor Gas. C, contact their Nicor regulatory representative to make them aware of the allegations. Assure them that it will be investigated by an objective third party and take appropriate action based on their findings. D, none of the above. C is the best answer. If these actions are true, Joe's behaviors would be a violation of the code at the very least. We treat each other with fairness, respect, and dignity. We do not tolerate inappropriate conduct, intimidation, harassment, or discrimination on any basis, including race, sex, age, religion, or disability, to name a few. This situation could harm the reputation of both ABC Firm and Nicor Gas. We tell the truth, keep our promises, and deal fairly and ethically with others. Our goal is to establish and maintain relationships built on trust. ABC Firm is an extension of Nicor Gas, and it would be important to ensure the lines of communication are transparent and open. Our reputation for doing the right thing is a valuable asset. We respect and comply with all laws and regulations. We also comply with company policies and the Code of Ethics. Specifically, our political activity policy states that the company strictly prohibits any employee from engaging in bribery, broadly defined as the offering, giving, soliciting, or receiving of anything of value with the intention to directly or indirectly influence an individual holding a public or legal duty to alter his or her official actions in order to gain an improper advantage. To constitute a bribe, the thing of value need not be given to the person holding an official position or legal duty personally, but might be given to another person or entity. What would you do? Smith & Company has been in business for a couple of years. They are in the business of providing locate work for various utilities in the Illinois area and have been interested in becoming a vendor for Nicor Gas. It would be a huge contract for them. George Day works in the sales department at Smith and happens to have a college friend, John, that works at Nicor in the construction department. George could receive a nice bonus if he can get the contract with Nicor. George meets his college buddy John at a local bar one night and makes a proposition. Hey John, if you award my company the locate contract, I will split my bonus with you and give your nephew a sweet job at my company. What should John do? A, make a deal with George. After all, they have been best friends since their college days, and he could use the extra money. B, turn down the bonus money, but allow George to get his nephew a job at his company. C, politely let George know that this suggestion is unethical and would be against the Code of Ethics. D, let George know that the suggestion is against his company's Code of Ethics and consider recusing himself in the bid process. He should then report the incident to the Ethics and Compliance Department or through the Concerns Program. The correct answer is D. John should let George know that this would be against our company's code of ethics and consider recusing himself from participating in the decision in awarding this particular contract. In addition, he should report the incident to the Compliance Department for awareness of the proposition. The Ethics and Compliance Department will investigate the situation and make the appropriate officials at Smith & Company aware of the proposition. What would you do? One of the company's retained consultants, Harry Gladhan, is a former state legislator. He has maintained a close personal and political relationship with the president of the state Senate. There is a pending energy bill that is languishing in subcommittee because the Senate leadership has not asked for the bill to be acted upon. During a recent company strategy session, Gladhan suggests the company bring on a former alderman to assist with government relations. Gladhan states that the former alderman is a significant political supporter of the president and has the juice to get him to have the bill heard in committee. He could also suggest an amendment or two to the Senate president that could improve the prospects of passage. Time is of the essence, and having the bill acted on favorably is important to the company. To save time, Gladhan offers to extend a contract from his consulting firm to the former alderman. To pay for this added expense, Gladhan will increase his monthly fee to cover his costs of retaining the alderman. Because of the short time frame to have the bill heard before it dies, Gladhan suggests this is the only way to quickly move things forward without having to go through the normal vendor approval and onboarding process and run the risk of the bill being dead for the year. The proposed arrangement with the former alderman is A, proper because Gladhan is an independent contractor and the company has no responsibility for who he hires to work for his firm. B, a violation of the legal requirements imposed on public utilities in Illinois. C, appropriate because the company is paying you for results and there is nothing unethical about using an existing consultant contract in this way. Answer B is correct. Gladhan is not proposing to hire the former alderman as an employee for his consulting firm to service firm clients. Instead, he is proposing to subcontract with the former alderman and to act as an intermediary for the payment of services. The company's code of ethics requires that employees comply with all laws and regulations. The recently enacted ethics reform legislation related to public utilities provides that no agreement between the public utility and a contractor, consultant, or vendor engaged for the purpose of carrying out lobbying pursuant to the Lobbyist Registration Act shall permit that contractor, consultant, or vendor to subcontract any portion of that work. Courtesies of reasonable gifts and entertainment may be a part of any good business relationship, and in some instances, giving and accepting those courtesies may be acceptable at the company. However, it is important to understand the rules in this area that help us assure that our personal interests don't interfere with the best interests of our companies. This is known as a conflict of interest. The next scenario involves Alex, a project manager for Pipes R Us company. Let's see what happens. What would you do? Alex works for Pipes R Us and is heading up a construction project for Nicor Gas. There is a permit application pending in a local planning department. The issuance of the permit in a timely fashion is essential for the project to remain on schedule. Alex is responsible for interacting with the local agency issuing the permit, and his supervisor, Jim, has clearly stated, make the permit happen as soon as possible. During Alex's phone conversation with the local planning official, the official makes clear that these types of permits are often delayed. She indicates that applications for these permits are not necessarily processed in the order in which they are received, and she alone decides how quickly such things move through the process. After discussing the substance of the application, and while ending the call, Alex makes one final comment. "You have been so helpful to me that I have mailed you a $250 gift card." Jim sees the amount on the monthly expense report and questions Alex about it. Alex responds, "It was just a gift to the official to help move things along." What should Jim do? A. Approve the purchase of the gift card given to the official with the intent to move along the permit through the process. B. Talk with Alex about how this exchange could be perceived, at the very least, as a conflict of interest and that he should never do this again. C. Report the situation to the officials at his company and the point of contact at Nicor Gas. The correct answer is C. Individuals may not offer gifts or entertainment to public officials, governmental employees, or foreign individuals, officials, or companies unless it is appropriate and legal under the laws, rules, and regulations of the governmental jurisdiction involved. Southern Company's Code of Ethics, policy, and applicable law prohibit offering anything of value to a public official in exchange for that official taking an official action to benefit the company. Jim has a duty to act when he suspects a violation of the code, company policies, or any laws and regulations. Reporting this incident will allow the company to conduct a proper review internally to determine the appropriate next steps to take regarding the exchange with the local agency. If for some reason Jim is not comfortable reporting this incident to his supervisor or the Nicor contact, he may report it to the Concerns Program. More information on the Concerns Program is on the next slide. Southern Company Gas expects its employees, consultants, and contractors to act with integrity and follow all applicable laws. The Concerns Program is a resource to report a wide range of illegal or unethical behaviors. All Southern Company system employees, contractors, lobbyists, vendors, and business partners may use the program. It's often best to speak with your supervisor first, but if that's not possible or appropriate, you can contact the Concerns Program in one of several ways, even anonymously. Thank you for your time and attention in completing this important training. By completing this course, you acknowledge that you will comply with all of the provisions of the Code of Ethics and that you will promptly report all violations of which you become aware following the reporting procedures contained in the Code of Ethics.